This morning, I offer to share our experiences in the use of castor oil here in the Philippines. So I will be talking about many different cases that really happen among our members, and personally too, with my family, with our study group members and friends. So while I do the sharing, you can ask the questions later. So we will have a period of question and answer. I'll try to cover probably 30 minutes of cases that happen. Most of us, I'm sure, aware of what the Cayce reading talk about, the castor oil pack, and what castor oil can do for many different ailments. To read is different from experiencing it. I would suggest that people really use it and see for themselves how effective it is. I will start with a case among our members. This guy works with the military, and later on he retired. He moved to the States. Later on, he moved back to the Philippines. And he called me up saying if I know of any solution for the kidney stones. His son has kidney stones. And he said if they go through surgery, gonna cost him like a few 100,000 pesos. That's quite a bit here. So I said, why not try the castor oil pack? Because it already worked with another members in our group, wherein we did castor oil pack for 3 nights or 4 nights, and the stone came out from urination during a shower. So I said, give it a try. And he said the size is quite big, meaning it's gonna be hard to come out. I said, oh, okay, then probably you have to pack it longer for it to come out. So I suggested like a 5 days pack, and it will be on and off, meaning you give the skin time to rest. You don't just pack it all the way like morning to evening, but in between you need to give the skin to rest. Otherwise it will be so itchy. And he did. He told his son what to do. And on the 5th day during shower, it came out and very painful with blood, but it did came out. So that's one case to prove that kidney stones can be overcome from castor oil pack. Another case is menopausal bleeding. This happened to one of our members. She was having problem with, constant bleeding, and she said, is there a solution? I said, I'm not sure, but you can try the castor oil pack and see how it works. And she did. And her report is that the bleeding stopped, and it helps her to more or less like regularize her menstrual period. And so it did work for her until she starts carrying heavy things, then it bleeds again. So in short, yes, it helps, but one has to stop carrying heavy things. That can cause the bleeding. Then another case is the sprain happened to my son. He loves sports, and he's flat-footed, so he has the tendency to sprain his ankle. The first sprain that happened when he came home, oh, it was really swollen. So what I did, I put castor oil wrap around his where the sprain was, and he slept overnight with it. The next morning we took it off. Oh, the swollen thing is gone, and he could walk without any crutches. But I also noticed it, though it helps, but the scar tissue builds up. So that is the the negative happening. It helps, but you build up scar tissue around the area where the sprain is. Among our members, they also experimented the castor oil. One say that if she's coughing, she would just rub castor oil on her chest and she got well. And the other one said, you know, if I have cold, I rub it around my forehead, my nose, my face, and I get better. That I'm not sure. I haven't tried it myself, but it sounds more like psychological, or it may not. It may really work. I don't know. I'm not sure. In my own case, I have dry eyes. Moving to Canada, I experienced dry eyes, like really dry eyes. Difficulty of opening my eyes in the morning. It's painful. And the doctor said, okay, use eye drop. The eye drop didn't work. Then he said, use eye gel. The eye gel did work, but for a while, after sometimes, it's just not enough. I was desperate, so what I did is I make a castor oil on cotton and cover both of my eyes with an eye patch and sleep with it. The next morning, I don't feel the dryness, and I keep doing it like for a week. Then for some reason, it works. After that, I can use eye gel, and up to now, I'm still using eye gel. So it's good also for dry eyes. Another case is someone fell in the bathroom and really bruised herself badly, as in very badly. And I suggested just do a pack and cover the pack as long as she can. But of course, there should be some rest in between for the skin to breathe. Together with therapy, she was able to recover within a month. For me, that's quite short. With injury like that, normally it takes longer. Regarding the fall, though you do castor oil pack, it helps. But my suggestion is you have to do it for 7 days. On, off, meaning wearing the castor oil, on, off for a week to make sure the bruise will recover. Otherwise, if you do only like 1 day, then you feel better, but it's not over. The bruise will still show up. But if you do it like every day for a week, then the bruise will not be there. That's based on experience. Then there's also the liver detoxification. If we do the Cayce suggestion, the 3 days castor oil pack on the liver, that's a detoxification way. It helps, actually it helps all the organs, not just the liver. I notice castor oil pack is very effective when you have stomach flu or you have diarrhea that medication is not working with. You cannot use the medication to stop the diarrhea. Then you just do the pack. It's gonna get well faster than using medication. The stomach flu, I heard it from, I think, Dr. McGarry, Gladys McGarry. And so I suggested to one member in our study group in Vancouver. And she said she tried everything, it failed. But when she tried the castor oil pack, it works. And she called me up so early in the morning at 5 a.m. wanting to thank me. I said, you don't need to do it that early. But she was happy, that's why. Okay, and this one is a highlight for me in my experience using castor oil suggestion is miscarriage. My nephew's wife is having problem with holding on to her baby because she was bleeding, and the doctor gave him shots for it to hold the baby, and she has to stay in bed. When I found out, I said, Dr. Gladys McGarry mentioned about castor oil baby. The method is to avoid miscarriage, you make castor oil pack throughout the pregnancy until the baby comes out. Every week, you do a 3 days pack and then rest the other days. Then next week, you do it again. So she successfully had the baby using just castor oil pack, and the baby got born very healthy, you know, and energetic, all of that.
Sorry, Victor, just a quick question for you. Were these cold pressed castor oil packs or hot?
That's a good question, because at one point, castor oil wasn't readily available here in the Philippines. So we just use any castor oil. I know this still it works. Unless you plan to take it internally, then you like to be sure it's purified, it's cold pressed. Otherwise, if even raw castor oil, I notice it works. So I will not worry that far unless you plan to take it internally.
Yeah, sorry, because I think I talked to Dr. McGarry, and just one thing I think that I want to specify that she doesn't recommend heating pads for pregnant women who take castor oil packs.
No, heating pad depends on the condition you are gonna treat it for. But for pregnancy or anything, let's say with diarrhea, I don't recommend that. The Philippines is a tropical country. It's always hot, so we don't use heating pad at all. It still works. And let's say if it didn't work in a day, pack it for 3 days, second and third day, it's just gonna work. It can work for so many things. Like one time my wife was holding a bottle of water, a liter of water, and it slipped, and she used her other hand to catch it, and it's only the pinky finger that caught the bottle, hitting her pinky finger together on the table, marble top. Oh wow, the pain was so terrible. She was crying. I packed it. In an hour later, oh, it's all well. And one time my fingers got caught in a door jamb. Oh, so painful. So I pack it and it just go away. I would say you should have castor oil at home. Use it for anything. Like I work in the garden, and sometimes when you overwork, your fingers very tired, and I would just rub it with castor oil and massage it and cover it with a plastic or whatever and let it rest. Before you know it, it's perfectly back to normal. I used to have a company that I run here in the Philippines. So I have some employees. One of the employees came to me saying, I have eczema on my foot. And the eczema is growing into the other foot too. And to go to a dermatologist is expensive. Can you suggest something? I said, if you don't mind, I experiment on you so I can ask you on weekend, try the castor oil, drink the castor oil to purge the waste in the stomach. You see, our colons have a lot of waste. And in the Cayce reading, Cayce did say that toxin would seep through the colon wall, and it can run into the bloodstream, causing rashes, causing eczema or psoriasis. I said, drink castor oil on the weekend. And he did. He said, oh boy, I have to keep running to the toilet. I said, yeah, that's part of the problem. Anyway, Monday, he came to work, and the redness on the skin is no longer as red. Tuesday, much better. Wednesday, it's already brownish. On Thursday, it's like dark, meaning the swelling is all gone. By Friday, I would say it's drying up. And so his eczema got well doing that. Now, today I just had a lunch with him, and he said he has to do it every 6 months because it comes back. So, you know, people with eczema, maybe keep a watch or do castor oil pack instead of drinking it, because castor oil pack will make you go clean your, you know, waste out if you have not tried it. Another case is ingrown toenail infection. You know, sometimes if we pick on ingrown toenail, and then when you take a shower, the water seep in, then before you know it, there's infection and it swell. If you do pack on it, it will get rid of that swelling and that inflammation. It happened to my sister-in-law, and she was happy when it worked. Another employee of mine, heard what happened to the other employee. And today he shared, he said, you know, I drink castor oil once a month. I said, why? He said, I just want to clean myself once a month, you know. I said, great idea, but don't you find it hard to swallow that? He said, well, it's for my health. I don't care. So it depends on how desperate we are. I would find it hard to do, but he's willing to do it. So basically, those are the actual cases that I experienced with people around here, with relatives, with friends, with the members. So I will open it. I mean, I'll stop here and then let you ask question, like probably whatever that comes to your mind that you want to ask for more understanding.
Thank you, Victor. A question in the chat is, did anyone in your group try it on postpartum symptoms?
That's a good question. I know about that, but no, none of us have tried it. I would say give it a try. What harm will it come about? Nothing. The worst thing is nothing happened. But what if it works, right?
Yeah, I would always recommend starting with one small piece of castor oil. Like, I've talked to a lot of thousands of people over the years, and I found one person that was allergic to castor oil, believe it or not. So,
oh wow,
you want to make sure you're not allergic to castor oil.
oh. My understanding about allergy normally is it's because the body cannot tolerate that thing. And based on the Cayce readings, is we have to expose ourselves on a very small quantity of that thing. Slowly, the body will build resistance to that thing. So let's say you are allergic to chicken. So eat a small piece and then let it be. After sometimes eat another small piece. Yeah.
Another question in the chat is, how much castor oil do they drink?
He showed me this much on a bottle like this.
That's a lot.
That's quite a bit. I would suggest two big tablespoons would be enough. I don't know. I will not try it myself because I have seen people after running to the stomach with all those turbulence in their stomach. I would rather do that. I don't know. It's easy to tell people, but hard to do it myself.
It's a laxative. Did you suggest to the man with eczema to stop eating pork?
No, I didn't, because first of all, I don't know what causes his eczema, except my understanding from the readings is that the colon's wall is thin, and if the waste in the colons remain there for a period of time, tendency is to seep through the wall into the bloodstream. And when that happens, then you get different rashes, you get eczema, you get psoriasis, you get all sorts of things. You know, the irritable bowel syndrome?
Yes.
That's the cause of autoimmune diseases. One of my interests is on health, because I used to be very sickly when I was in my school days. Not a month go by without a cold or a cough fever. Then when I learned about Cayce in my 20s, he talks about the acid alkaline balance. So that changed my thinking of how to take care of myself. And it works. And on top of that, the positive attitude and the change of attitude, like trying not to be judgmental, kind, cooperative, all of that change our cells in the body and makes us healthier just by that attitude change.
Yes, yes, for sure. There's another question in the chat. Do you use wool for the castor oil pack?
You know, because different people in this world have different availability. In the Philippines, we don't have wool. Why? Because it's hot, right? But people have cotton. I said, any old cotton shirt, you know, the one that you wear at home, white without any print, use it. Use anything cotton, pure cotton, and saturate it with castor oil, then wrap it around your stomach, cover it with a plastic so it won't soil your bed sheet, and lie down. Half hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. You want to sleep with it, that's even better.
Great. Some people are asking, have you ever put the castor oil directly in your eyes for dry eyes?
I did.
1 drop.
I did because I was quite desperate at that time. But don't do it in the morning. Do it only before you go into sleep. Why? Because it's so sticky, you won't be able to see. But if you just go into sleep, it won't matter. Put a drop on each eye, go to bed, go to sleep. By tomorrow morning, it's all absorbed. You can open your eyes without that stickiness, without that blur. That comes from someone who experienced it. That's me. It works.
Yeah, actually,
And also add,
sorry.
excuse me, and also take high dosage of omega-3. If not omega-3, omega-7, meaning the body needs this oil. It is deficient in this oil. If you take omega-7 and besides omega-3 on a high dosage, even your cholesterol will drop. Even your blood pressure will improve. This is literally, it happens to me. But you still have to use medication at the end. But at least the blood pressure will not be running like 130, 140, 160. It will be somewhere in the 120/60.
Yeah. Just a quick story. I have a friend who was suffering with dry eyes for a very long time, and she started putting castor oil drops in her eyes. And she went to see her eye doctor, and the eye doctor said, "Oh no, don't put castor oil drops in your eyes. Here, I'm going to prescribe you like a small bottle." So he prescribed her a very small bottle, and it was like $90 for a small bottle. So she started putting that in her eyes. And she was like, wow, this has the same effect as castor oil. And she looked at the ingredient, and the number 1 ingredient was castor oil in this $90 bottle for eye drops.
John, you are right. That's very true because I come across a sample given to me by my eye doctor. I never mentioned castor oil to him, but he said, try this sample because this is the latest one and others said it works. So give it a try. When I read the ingredient, it's castor oil. So just use castor oil. I can assure you it's fine.
Another question in the chat. Does castor oil get old? What is the shelf life of castor oil? And also, how many times can I use a saturated castor oil pack over the abdomen?
Castor oil for me, if it is properly kept, it doesn't expire. Why? Because I bought a gallon before, a gallon. So after 20 years of using, it's half gallon. So I was worried it might be, expired. And I smell it and everything. It doesn't go rancid. If you check into the industrial oil they use castor oil for industrial lubrication, meaning it's a very good oil. What was the other question? How many times?
Yeah, how many times can I use a saturated castor oil pack over the abdomen?
This is how I measure the cloth. After applying it, the next morning I would keep it in a plastic bag. Then by that day, nighttime, I would take it out. If it is a bit dry, then I just add a little bit more and then put it on again. If the body needs more, it will just absorb. If the body has enough, it will not absorb that much. That's based on my observation.
Great, great. Yeah, I think those were all the questions in the chat. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your experience with Bill and Elsie Sechrist and when it came to the Philippines and how your journey into the Cayce material began.
Oh, okay. I look at my life in the early years. I don't have a direction. I just go to school, get my college degree, and just flowing with it without really a purpose. So it was a Reader Digest article by Gene Dixon about the assassination of John F. Kennedy that I read. And Edgar Cayce's name was mentioned there. So I wrote Virginia Beach. And the next thing, I got a letter from Judith Stevens. She said, oh, Bill and Elsie are visiting the Philippines. Bill and Elsie Sechrist are visiting Philippines on such a date, arriving Manila. And their contact person is an Air Force guy by the name of Ernest Morash. So I call him up at the Clark Air Base. That's an American air base in the Philippines. And they said, oh, he's in mainland, meaning he went to the States, to his family. I said, what? I thought he's supposed to meet the Sechrist. So anyway, I said, if nobody's meeting the Sechrist, I better go to the airport. Without a picture, how they look like, every white couple that comes out, I said, Sechrist? And if there's no reaction, I just keep quiet. Finally, Elsie heard me and say, young man, do I know you? I said, no, I'm Victor. Then I introduced myself. So that's how it started. I think when a student is ready, the master do appear. And they are my mentor. As a matter of fact, I learned so much from them, literally like I'm a sponge. Anything they said, you just keep absorbing. And it makes so much sense, the Cayce readings. Like, I was raised as a Buddhist. My parents are Buddhists. I was sent to Protestant school, and the minister would say, don't believe those Buddhist idols, burn them, this and that, you know. Only Christ is the real one. And then I was sent to Catholic school for my university. And the Catholic school say, don't believe them. You know how confused I was. And then when Casey said, believe in the church you believe in. Be a good member of your church. So I said, if I don't believe in any of them, that means it's fine. I can believe in the church here. Casey said the church is the body. And you know, in the Catholic school, when you are young, they make you line up every week to confess, even though you run out of sin. Every week I have to think of what sin am I gonna say to that extent. Anyway, it's crazy. So after meeting Elsie and Bill, I said to myself, the things they talk about, Casey, how true is it? Because you have to be skeptical. It's just too much, right? So I said, I'm going to Virginia Beach. That was February when they visited. I hope we have time for me to talk. Oh, I have 5 minutes left. Okay.
Well, you have 15 minutes left if you want.
Oh, okay. Anyway, because the details make it you will notice that the details make it meant to be, meaning it's part of my fate, F-A-T-E, the fate line that's need to happen. So I want to go to Virginia Beach and I don't have money, and I was working, but the pay is so low, you know, being a new employee. And at that time, we have martial law. Martial law requires you to get an exit permit before you are allowed to leave the country. And an exit permit requires a business invitation. So I have to use my father's friends business dealings to ask for an invitation from US to the Philippines, asking me to go over to look into the product line. In short, it's just a creation, an excuse. So I got the business letter. You know how long it takes? A month writing them, and then a reply, and then a month. So it takes some time before I get the final letter to get an exit permit. Next is the US visa. Again, that takes a while. Then the pocket money. The interesting thing is the pocket money. I need the plane fare. I need the pocket money. So how it's gonna happen? One day I was walking on the street and I saw a former professor, and we chat. And I said, you know, I like to go to the States. He said, oh, when? I said, this is my plan. As soon as I get my visa and all of that. He said, you know, I'm working with Canadian Pacific Airway. I'm the manager. Why don't you go to my office? I'll give you 50% off. Wow. So I went to see him. He said, this is what I'm gonna do. Manila, Vancouver, Montreal. When you get down from Montreal, you take a bus to New York and then down to Virginia Beach. I said, okay. So meaning I need to pay only half a fare. Okay, that's a big thing. I need the other half. My sister need house sitter. And she said, Victor, can you house sit for me. I said, yeah, why not? What do you want? She said. I said, a plane ticket. Okay. When she came back, didn't give me a whole ticket. She gave me only half a ticket. But how can you complain? You know, it's a gift. So thank you. But now I have a whole ticket, right? She gave me half a ticket to pay for that half fare. Good. Pocket money. Elsie said, she talked about dream incubation. And I said, okay, let me give it a try. Dream incubation. I've been playing small stocks. So I asked for a dream about a stock. And then one morning, this was on a Monday morning, I had the dream. And the dream was about a particular stock. And that it went up so much. So that morning, I called up my agent, my broker, to buy that stock. And I said, buy me 300,000, but I don't have money to pay you. On the fourth day, when I need to pay you, I'll pay for the loss. If I have gain, then you give me the gain. I cannot pay for the whole stock, but I can pay for the loss. By Thursday, we need to sell. He said, fine. So we waited. Tuesday, it went down. Wednesday, it went down. And then Thursday morning, it was still going down. That was 9:30. Very vivid. It was falling. I called him. I said, sell it, sell it. I'll just pay you the loss. So we hung up. He sold it. By 10:45, it starts to go up, just like in the dream. I called him back. I said, buy it back and add 200,000. Make it 500,000. Because this time I'm sure it's going up. By next week, on Wednesday, I sold half of it. The other half, it's all gain. That was my pocket money. So in the latter part, among our group members, study group members, we experimented on dream incubation. But let me tell you, it will not work unless the purpose of it is really needed. Like in my case, I need to leave, I need that money. The universe will help you, but not when you want to just make money out of using the psychic. No, it doesn't work. We did it and we failed. We lost money, in short. So finally, by November, I had my pocket money, I have my plane ticket, and I have everything planned out. You know, November is cold in the States, in Canada. So I need suit, I need those winter clothes. So when I got to Montreal, I was like in a land I never saw. I have to go to a hotel in the middle of the night because that's the arrival time. The hotel is expensive. Of course, at night, you don't care where you're gonna stay. You just go to the nearest one. The next day, bus to New York. Went to see a friend of mine, stay with her for a night. Then took another bus to Virginia Beach. That's where Elsie and Bill, picked me up. Then I was introduced at the lobby to Virginia Beach lobby. Bill said, "Oh, this is Victor from the Philippines. He doesn't have a place to stay. If you people know of a place, let him know." And Avram Levine was there. Avram said, "Victor, my roommate is off for 3 nights. Why don't you stay with me?" Great. He's just across the street. Any one of you who knows Avram, such a excellent person. So that 3 days, I learned so much from him. And I was still greenish. By greenish meaning greenhorn. So on the 3rd day, I bought him a bunch of groceries. And these are canned goods. thinking, he can use it. It turns out he doesn't use canned goods. Anyway, those are the experiences.
Those are some great stories. Some great stories, Victor.
Yeah.
There are some questions in the chat.
Oh yeah, by all means.
How many times can you use a castor oil pack before throwing it away?
You don't have to throw it away as long as it doesn't show dark spots, because sometimes when it extracts toxin from your body and the toxin is on the cloth, meaning you need to throw away the whole thing. You can never wash them, by the way, because it's too sticky. Every time you need to repack, make a new one.
Another question is,
his question.
Do you give out your email?
Oh yeah. My life is to share, as Casey said. We can only be a channel of blessing. And I'm open to people who needs any kind of natural health information. Anything I know, I'm open to sharing. And I do have some Chinese background on health, but limited. It's just that at least I know some of it. So I'll share whatever I know. If people have a spinal issue, as Casey said, the spine is so important that we need to protect it. Diseases come from there. If it's misaligned, if it's get injured. So as much as possible, take care of the spine. My email, if you like to write it down, C as in Charlie, T as in Tom, H as in Henry, 1926 at yahoo.ca, Canada.ca. I'll repeat. C as in Charlie, T as in Tom, H as in Henry, 1926 at yahoo.ca. If you do write me on the subject, please add the word ARE, because if I don't know who is writing me, I don't want to open it to avoid spam. So put the word ARE, that's our code.
Secret code. I'm also going to put in the link for the event. There's an RSVP option on there. So if you RSVP for the event, then I'm going to send out an email at the end with contact information for some of the speakers.
Okay.
Any other questions for Victor?
I just had a comment, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I got excited this morning when you said you were going to talk about castor oil packs, because it's a mainstay in the readings. So I went over and I put one on, and basically all I use is just a gel pack these days. And then you can see I use a Ziploc bag, and it's a quart size, and and I just put a little oil on there, so it doesn't really have to be that complicated. And if you got some excess on there, you can just take a like a paper towel and wipe it off. So yeah, I've been doing that during your session, so I could absorb everything you say. And I think it's an important idea to remember that this thing doesn't have to be complicated. It's the way it's taught and has been taught for decades. Is these giant body wraps and all this. You're supposed to do all this messy stuff. It's not really messy at all. You just put the the wool flannel in a Ziploc bag, and you cut out you cut out like part of the plastic. And then, I just leave it like that when I'm done, and I use them for months. I don't really throw them away. So yeah,
The only problem, Phil, is that sometimes third world country like Philippines, these are not accessible. And many of our members are on a budget. And so we use whatever available that they can use. Yeah. Philippine export Castor seeds to the US, and then US export the oil to the Philippines. See how funny that is.
Here's a little insight. The reason it's called cold press is because they put dry ice around the machinery that grinds up the beans, right? And the dry ice keeps the machinery from heating up. And once the machinery heats up, it gets really hot, the metal gets hot, and that actually breaks the oil down. So it's called cold press because they pack that with dry ice. Yeah, you should start, when you're in the Philippines, set up the equipment and start making your own, because, you got the stuff there. It's just a matter of producing it, and, we'll help you out with that.
Well, my life is at a point when I want everything simple. I don't want to complicate my life doing that. Yeah, but it's a good suggestion for someone to make
Nothing more
business up.
simple than this.
Yeah.
Jump back, put it in the microwave for about half a minute.
Oh, you put it on microwave. I see.
Yeah,
well, here you don't even have to heat it because it's so warm.
Yeah. Well, the idea, I think, is that, when you open up the pores from the heat, then that drives the oil down into the body. And when
Yeah.
in the US, when we were kids, our mothers actually gave us castor oil orally. I don't know,
I know, I heard.
And that's why nobody wants to do it, because, that's just, nobody wants to do that. So, Edgar's approach is like, okay, I'm going to put it on the body so that it absorbs where it needs to be. And that way it doesn't have to go through the stomach and get broke down and all that stuff. So it's just simple, effective way of helping the body in so many ways.
I'm glad you brought this up, Phil. I forgot to mention that if the intention is to get rid of the kidney stone, the packing of the castor oil, 3 layers of cloth, and wrap around, including your back, around the whole body.
Yeah.
Because the kidney is at the back, and if you only put it in the front, I don't know if it will work. The one that I suggested to our members is to wrap it around, including the kidney portion.
Great. Thank you so much, Victor. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
It's a privilege to have you, Victor.
The information in this video is not intended to provide medical advice. The content is intended for educational purposes only. Any of the applications should not be used without consulting a licensed healthcare provider. The information presented is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.